I'm Robert Rosenkranz, chairman of Intelligence Squared. With me is Dana Wolf, our executive producer, and it's my pleasure to welcome you tonight. This is the final debate, the 8th debate of our inaugural season. We launched this debate series with the goal of raising the level of public discourse in this country, and I think we're very gratified with the reception that we've received. The resolution tonight is a booming China spells trouble for America. Well, why did we pick this topic? First of all, it seems clear that the emergence of China as an economic superpower is perhaps the most dramatic economic event in our lifetimes. Since China's economic liberalization in 1978, the average person in China is about 12 times better off. Pretty extraordinary for a single generation. With some 1.3 billion souls, China has orchestrated the biggest improvement in material well-being in human history. Chinese imports provide about $1,000 in increased purchasing power for the average American family. It's become the fastest growing market for U.S. exports, a very exciting set of investment opportunities for U.S. business. It's offered the world almost a how-to-do-it manual for transitioning from a state-controlled economy to an economy where the private sector is larger and the state sector smaller than virtually any developed country in the world save the United States. So why tonight's debate? Where might the trouble lie for America? Well, perhaps it's in our $230 billion trade deficit. Perhaps it's because 1,800,000 American jobs have been lost. Perhaps it's because China's appetite for raw materials, natural resources, has pushed it toward very close relationships with countries like Iran. Interestingly, this debate does not fall along traditional ideological lines. My perhaps list energizes the anti-globalization left as well as security hawks on the right. But which side can marshal the facts and analysis to support their view? Well, we have an exceptionally strong panel this evening. Our moderator is British journalist James Harding, who since last year has been business and city editor of the Times of London, our media sponsor. And prior to this, James was with the Financial Times, serving as Washington bureau chief, media editor, and prior thereto as correspondent in China, where he opened the Shanghai office, or Shanghai bureau, I should say. And it's now my pleasure to pass the evening on to James.
Thank you very much, Bob. I'd like to welcome you all to the 8th Intelligence Squared debate here in the US. Let me give you a brief rundown of what we're going to do this evening. First, the proposer of the motion will start by presenting their side of the argument. The opposition will follow, and then each person will get a maximum of 8 minutes, and we will go back and forth from one side to the other. Second, when all 6 speakers have finished with their opening remarks, I will open up the floor to brief questions from the audience. Third, when the Q&A is complete, each debater will make a final statement lasting not more than 2 minutes per person. And fourth, after the closing statement is made, you'll vote on tonight's motion. Now, let me introduce the panel to you. For the motion, firstly, we have Bill Gertz, who's the defense and national security reporter for the Washington Times, an author and a Fox News analyst. Then we have Professor John Mearsheimer, the R. Wendell Harrison Distinguished Service Professor of Political Science and the co-director of the Program on International Security Policy at the University of Chicago. And finally, Michael Pillsbury, consultant to the Office of the U.S. Secretary of Defense on future planning issues and advisor to the Pentagon on Asian affairs and long-term defense planning. Against the motion, there's the founder and chairman and chief executive of McGregor and Company, an author, and the former chief executive of Dow Jones in China, James McGregor. Then we have Daniel H. Rosen, the principal of China Strategic Advisory, adjunct associate professor at Columbia University and visiting fellow with the Institute for International Economics. And Ambassador Stapleton Roy, managing director of Kissinger Associates and a 3-time ambassador serving in Singapore, the People's Republic of China, and Indonesia. Right, Those were the formalities. Now let's get on with the debate.